Welcome to the Continuous Improvement Lab. This is Season 1, Episode 7.
Glad to be diving in today.
Yeah, absolutely. You're probably listening because you want to get smarter, faster, without getting totally bogged down in theory.
All right, cut through the noise.
Exactly. And today, we're doing a deep dive into something that can really shift how you handle problems. We're talking about making root cause analysis a routine.
Making it part of the daily grind in a good way.
Yes. We've looked at industry research, a really interesting business case, some leadership insights too, across different sectors.
Good mix of sources.
Our mission here really is to pull out the key stuff, how embedding root cause analysis regularly can actually lead to, real benefits.
Yeah.
Big improvements.
It's about solving problems for good, not just patching them up.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
Special thanks to Dr. Marisa Johnson and Alexandria Johnson for their insights in this area.
Their work was very helpful.
Definitely. And hey, if you like what you hear today and want more deep dives like this, please do subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcasts.
Helps us keep doing this.
Okay, let's get into it. Root cause analysis.
Yeah.
What are we actually talking about here? Lay it out for us.
Sure. So think of root cause analysis, RCA for short, as, it's more than just seeing a problem and reporting it. It's about actively digging deeper. It's a structured way of asking why. Usually multiple times.
The famous 5 whys.
Exactly. That's one key tool. You keep asking why until you peel back all those surface layers and find the actual fundamental driver of why something isn't working right.
So you find the source of the gap, not just the symptom.
Precisely. You're finding the root, hence the name, not just trimming the leaves.
Right, because we've all been there, haven't we? You fix something, feels good, then boom, it's back next week or next month.
Oh, yes. More time, more resources wasted. It's frustrating.
Totally. So to make this concrete, let's talk about this case study, Novatech Industries. What was their situation?
Okay. Novatech. They're a manufacturer electronics sector, and they were living that exact scenario you just described. Oh. Yeah, they had these quality defects that just kept popping up, and persistent machine downtime, really messing with their production flow.
So they knew they had a problem. They were tracking things.
They were tracking data, yeah. But their approach to fixing things was, let's say, surface level. Quick fixes, Band-Aids, really, aimed at just getting things running again now.
The classic firefighting mode. Always reacting.
Exactly that. And like you'd expect, the same problems just kept coming back. Again and again.
Which leads to?
Well, frustration, obviously. Teams get demoralized. And it hits the bottom line, increased costs from scrap, rework, delays. It just wasn't working long term.
Okay, so it sounds like they needed a change. What was the turning point for Novatech? How did they start to tackle this differently?
They made a very conscious decision. They decided to integrate formal root cause analysis into their management operating system, their MOS.
Okay, so not just a one-off training session.
No, not at all. This became part of their daily and weekly rhythm. Supervisors got specific training on leading RCA sessions.
Using those tools you mentioned.
Yep. Tools like the 5 whys, fishbone diagrams, Ishikawa diagrams. They started using these during their regular shift reviews.
And who was involved in these? Just the supervisors?
Critically, no. They actively pulled in the production operators, the maintenance techs, the folks who are hands-on with the equipment and processes every single day.
That's key, isn't it? Getting the people closest to the problem involved.
Absolutely essential. Their insights are invaluable. And here's another crucial part. It became a formal requirement.
A requirement? How so?
Anytime a performance variance was flagged, maybe in a daily huddle or a weekly review, they had to complete a documented RCA before they could implement any fix.
So it forced them to pause and think, not just react.
Precisely. Forced a more thoughtful, systematic approach. Plus, all the findings, the action plans, everything was documented and shared across shifts.
So knowledge wasn't getting lost between teams.
Right. Lessons learned were actually applied consistently. It built momentum.
Okay, so they made this big shift, integrated RCA. What happened? Did it actually move the needle on their performance?
It really did, and quite quickly, actually, within just 3 months.
3 months, that's fast.
Yeah, pretty impressive. They saw a 22% reduction in that recurring equipment downtime.
Wow, 22%.
And a 15% improvement in their first pass yield.
Meaning more products made right the first time.
Exactly. Less rework, less waste. Significant gains.
Those are solid numbers. What kind of things were they actually uncovering with this RCA process? What were the root causes they found?
They started digging up these systemic issues, things that had just been simmering under the surface before.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, things like inconsistent maintenance procedures across shifts, or gaps in operator training for certain tasks, even some product design elements that were inherently making certain failures more likely.
So stuff beyond just the machine broke.
Way beyond. Because they were focused on the why, they moved past just fixing the immediate breakdown. They started updating maintenance checklists to prevent failures.
Huh.
They revised standardized work instructions to make training clearer, more effective. And in some cases, they actually made design changes or equipment upgrades to tackle those inherent weaknesses.
So truly preventative measures, not just corrective ones.
Exactly. Stop it happening again, not just fix it this time.
And what about the people side? Did this change the culture at all?
Oh, definitely. That was another big impact. They saw a noticeable shift. Teams felt more engaged, more invested.
Because their input was actually being used.
Yes. They felt heard, valued. Operators felt more empowered to flag issues and contribute to solutions. Supervisors grew more confident leading these problem-solving efforts.
And leadership.
Senior leadership gained much clearer visibility into why things were going wrong repeatedly, which meant they could allocate resources, time, money, people much more strategically.
It sounds like they shifted from being constantly reactive
to being much more proactive, much more in control. They built a more resilient operation, really, focused on sustaining quality, sustaining productivity, not just putting out the next fire.
That Novatech story is a really powerful illustration. But is this just a one-off, or are we seeing this trend more broadly? Is routine RCA catching on elsewhere?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely not just Novatech. We're seeing this gain traction across a whole range of industries.
Like where?
Well, certainly in manufacturing and warehousing, like Novatech, but also engineering, supply chain, services, even marketing, believe it or not.
Interesting. So this idea of making RCA a standard practice is spreading.
Yes, there's a growing recognition of the benefits pretty much everywhere.
Okay, let's break that down a bit. What are the specific trends in, say, manufacturing, warehousing, supply chain, those core operational areas?
In those sectors, the focus is often, quite naturally, on those tangible problems, equipment failures, quality issues, process bottlenecks.
Right, the things you can see and measure easily.
Exactly. And there's some interesting data from the American Society for Quality ASQ. Their research suggests organizations that make RCA routine.
Meaning they do it regularly, not just for big disasters.
Right. Those organizations reduce repeat problems by up to 26% more than companies that only pull out RCA reactively when something major goes wrong.
25%, that's significant.
It is. So the trend is to embed RCA into those daily huddles, weekly reviews, catch things early, address the root cause right away.
Makes sense. What about engineering and supply chain? Those can be complex project-driven environments.
Yeah, in engineering and supply chain, there's a real leadership focus on using RCA to improve project delivery and overall efficiency.
How so?
Well, Deloitte did a report looking at engineering teams. They found that teams consistently using RCA tools, like the 5 whys or fishbone diagrams you mentioned, they see about an 18% drop in project rework.
18% less doing things over again. That's huge for engineers.
Absolutely. And a 12% decrease in lead times, getting things done faster.
And in the supply chain. It feels like there are always fires to fight there.
True, but applying routine RCA to things like stockouts or delivery delays or inventory errors, organizations are reporting around a 15% boost in on-time performance.
50% better delivery. Customers would like that.
Definitely. And fewer disruptions overall. The real shift here is building the team's capability to see the systemic patterns behind the disruptions, not just react to each one individually.
So again, it's about building that deeper problem-solving muscle within the teams.
Exactly. And it's not just limited to those traditional operational areas.
You mentioned services and marketing earlier. That seems less intuitive. How does RCA apply there?
Well, think about services. Customer complaints, service failures. A McKinsey study found something interesting.
What's that?
Service organizations that use routine root cause problem solving improve customer retention by up to 10%.
10% more loyal customers. How?
Because they're not just fixing the immediate complaint, they're digging into why it happened and fixing the underlying process or policy. So the problem doesn't happen again for other customers. It builds trust.
Ah, so it leads to permanent resolution, not just a quick apology.
Precisely. And in marketing, teams are starting to apply RCA thinking to campaigns that didn't perform well.
Instead of just saying, oh, well, that flopped.
Right. They ask why it flopped. Was it the targeting, the message, the channel? by understanding the root cause of poor performance.
They can do better next time.
Exactly. They're seeing about a 14% average increase in ROI on subsequent campaigns when they apply this kind of analysis. So it drives internal improvement and better external results.
Okay, so pulling this all together, the big picture trend seems clear.
Yeah, I think so. Industry leaders are really moving towards embedding RCA into their organizational DNA. It's becoming fundamental to how they operate.
Making it part of the culture.
Yes, a key part of fostering genuine continuous improvement. You see it integrated into daily tiered meetings, performance reviews, project wrap-ups, or retrospectives.
Especially where Lean or Six Sigma are being adopted.
Definitely. It aligns perfectly with those methodologies. The core idea is that making root cause analysis just part of how you do business routinely, it's proving incredibly effective.
For what, specifically?
For systematically eliminating waste and inefficiency, for improving accountability, and for driving real measurable gains in quality, productivity, delivery across the board, really.
Okay, so if there's one big takeaway from our deep dive today, it really seems to be this. Making root cause analysis a regular, routine practice isn't just some nice-to-have technique.
No, it's a seriously powerful strategy.
For driving sustainable improvement, it sounds like, in pretty much any field.
I truly believe that. It just works.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for everyone listening.
Yeah, think about your own work, your own daily or weekly routines. Where are those recurring problems, those persistent headaches?
The things that just keep coming back.
Exactly. Where could applying a more systematic approach to asking why, really digging deep, unlock some hidden potential for improvement? Maybe even prevent those headaches altogether.
That's a great question to ponder. Some really valuable insights today.
Glad we could unpack it.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, if you'd like additional information on anything we discussed or want to explore how these ideas might apply to your situation, please feel free to reach out via our website. That's www.karaswisher.com.
Always happy to connect.
And finally, a huge thank you to our executive producer and founder, Lanier Johnson.
Yes, thank you, Lanier.
Thanks everyone for tuning in to this deep dive on the power of routine root cause analysis. We'll catch you next time on the Continuous Improvement Lab.